Jim Monahan, Chris Swendeman, we're back with the 2 minute drill, and we've got a lot to cover between baseball, Mets, Yankees, and what's going on there, and then some wild NFL games this weekend. Swendeman, I want to start with Yankees shortstop Anthony Volpe. As we record this on a Tuesday night, he is back in the lineup after being out for 6 straight games. Jose Caballero has been taking over at the Yankees shortstop position during that time, and I believe Volpe's had a cortisone shot. So hopefully that helps him a little bit. Here's the thing. We know he has a torn labrum. Partial, full, most,
Right.
who knows? It's probably
Right.
partial. There's talk he's going to need off-season surgery. Brian Cashman said that the other day. So as all of this is starting to break through, now he first injured it back in May. He re-injured it a little over a week ago. If he needs surgery, what in heaven's name are they doing? They knew he was hurt in May. They should have addressed this much more than they did at the trade deadline. We said at that time that Caballero was a really, really good pickup for the Yankees. And he has been. He's been able to play multiple.
Absolutely.
But you're sticking this kid out there.
Right.
He's injured. He might need surgery. If he's injured, he could probably hurt himself even further. What are you doing?
This is such a short-sighted move by the Yankees, and I'm really disappointed if it turns out to be what we seem to think it is, that they've been playing him through the injury. And I get it. You're a pro ball player. You want to play. But when you become a detriment to the team, and we've said multiple times over the summer, he has just gotten progressively worse. He can't get out of his own way. Well, now you're not only messing with his psyche, you're messing with his physical state that could have long-term effects on his career. This is a very short-sighted move by the Yankees, and I'm really disappointed that somebody didn't step in somewhere along the line and go, all right, kid, you know what? It's been great. You've been trying, but take a seat, join the medical staff, go get this looked at, and go get something fixed, because what they did is they just had, whether he's compensating or not, you're talking about, the hitting isn't there. Then the fielding wasn't there. All his mechanics are all off. So now you basically, by next year, are going to have to rebuild him from scratch, because right now he's just a shell of himself. And if it's because of an injury and you let it go on this long, that's almost criminal.
Now, Clint Frazier, Yankee fans will remember him, and you have to take what he says with a grain of salt, because he had issues with the Yankees. He and the fans had some animosity towards one another, but he tweeted out a couple of things with regard to Volpe over the last week. One was, they are weird, they being the Yankees. They are weird, he extended the word, with the injuries. And the other thing that he said was, they just lie when it comes to injuries. Now, every team is going to try to downplay things a little bit if they can, because you don't want to give an opponent an upper hand.
Right.
But this is your shortstop we're talking about. This is not a bench player. And you're throwing this kid out there. You're allowing him to take the brunt of a brutal beating from the fans. And he might need surgery. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
It makes no sense. You've done everything you possibly can wrong to this kid to get him to not succeed at the sport, or at least in the Bronx. We've talked before, Jim, about Volpe maybe needing a hard reset. After he's all healthy, he may need it just to reset his psyche somewhere else, because they've done everything they can to not let this kid succeed, as far as I'm concerned.
And, we talked about this last week. He isn't the one who said he was the next Jeter. That came from fans. That came from the media. What he did say was, I always wanted to play for the Yankees. He's like every kid who grew up in the New York, New Jersey, and maybe Connecticut area in the shadow of Yankee Stadium. He wanted to play here, and probably still does. And that was a dream come true. Sometimes, be careful what you wish for. You may get it. I would hate to see that dream go poof like that. But again, like you just said, full reset with him in a different uniform next year may be exactly what he needs.
Absolutely. And while we're on the topic of baseball, let's shift over to the other side of Manhattan, shall we?
Wow.
Let's go to Queens. How are things going over there, Jim?
What what are they? 2-8 in their last 10?
700 million doesn't buy you what it used to.
Apparently not. Boy, that's
Um,
been an
they
ugly 2 weeks of baseball, Chris.
they are just bad. I mean, there's the effort and there's nothing redeeming about them right now. You look at that team and you're like, how? How is this even possible with some of the guys that you have in that lineup? And all the additions that we talked about at the trade deadline, myself included, I was impressed by what they went out and got for their bullpen. I was like, they're loaded now. They are a hot mess. Nothing is going right over in Queens. All the pitchers that they thought would be stopgaps or get them to where they needed, the Clay Holmes is starting to teeter out, which every Yankee fan could have told you that. Sean Manaea is not where they need to be. Frankie Montas was never healthy. He's already going for surgery. Their pitching staff is collapsing in on itself, and the hitters aren't making up for it. The Nimmos, the McNeils, all the role players that are supposed to, help out the Alonsos, the Sotos, the Lindors, they're not cutting it. And this team there's nothing redeeming about them right now at all.
12 games to go for the Mets as they go into play on Tuesday night. So, I mean, obviously, they're still in a wild card position as it stands right now, but they're in danger of falling out. So they have to right the ship. There's no question about it. I want to turn to football. I notice you are wearing your Bills Mafia hat.
Yes, sir. Proud card-carrying member of the Bills Mafia now. Don't mess with me.
If you're not aware of this, Swendeman is a long time, was a long time Dallas Cowboys fan.
I was.
So I was driving on Sunday and I'm listening back and forth to a bunch of different games. I had the Jet Bills game on.
Yep.
I had the Patriots Dolphins game on, and I had the Giants Cowboys game on. And as that game, the Giants Cowboys, is going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, all I could think of was, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back again. So I don't know how much, because I know you were at the Jets Bills game. I don't know how much of that you heard, but as you're watching / listening, whatever, were you getting the slightest pinch of,
nope,
they're pulling me back?
Nope, not in the slightest. We were actually, they have it on, they have all the scores going on in the stadium as the game's going on. And as the Bills kept increasing their lead, you start to get distracted at some point, because when the Jets are on offense, either you keep yourself going or you fall asleep, because that was just brutal. But we were looking at the scoreboard and we kept seeing, like, the Giants, and they show player stats because of fantasy football. We're seeing Russell Wilson, 250 yards passing in the first half. Wan'Dale Robinson with 100 yards in the first half. We're like, what is happening? And they're showing the NFL red zone. And we're like, you got to be kidding. The Giants are in this. And the score kept going back and forth like a pinball machine. And when we got in the car and we're listening, it was just unreal of the back and forth of this game. But as far as a rooting interest, I had zero rooting interest whatsoever in it.
Bob Papa and Carl Banks did a great job of orchestrating what was going on, telling you what was happening in that game. I've
They're a
always
great
liked
team.
Bob. Bob and I worked together years ago, but the two of them together are really, really incredible. It was a lot of fun. A similar scenario with the Patriots and Dolphins. That game going back and forth. I'm listening to the Chiefs and the Eagles, and I kept waiting for the Chiefs to come back. Who had them at 0-2 on the bingo card this early in the year?
No, and you know what? It wasn't on the back of Jalen Hurts that they wanted. The Eagles will run and stuff down your throat. And then their defense does not get anywhere near as much credit as I think they should have for that win, because they really took care of business when they had to and shut Mahomes and company down. 33.8 million people watched that game, Jim. That's how invested they are, because it was obviously the return of the rematch of the Super Bowl. And I mean, while it didn't have the scoring we would have thought, it wasn't like the earlier games where it was just back and forth offense. It was who could hold on And I thought Kansas City could have won it, but Philadelphia's defense, man, they held in there and they got the W. Good for them.
What's been the biggest surprise for you so far in the 2 weeks that we've played?
I will say, I think the change over weeks 1 to 2, because after week 1, I was like, you know what? The Jets really should have won, and they looked impressive. And in week 2, they looked like Jekyll and Hyde. They looked terrible against Buffalo. And the Giants, who did not look good in Washington, looked like they could hold their own with an offense like Dallas. So the Giants look better. I think both teams will have their up and downs during the season, but both may be better than I thought. The Giants they're going to get whoever is quarterbacking better have good life insurance because that offensive line stinks. The Jets, on the other hand, they may be drafting a quarterback next year because Justin Fields, to me, does not look like he's the answer that they were looking for.
I was very impressed with Russell Wilson on Sunday. I didn't think he had that type of game still in him. He clearly does.
37 years old, man, still going. Good
biggest disappointment so far for you in the 2 weeks that we've had so far?
Man, I got to say Kansas City at 0-2. I mean, I know it's 2 hard games, but, they're getting older and they look older, Jim. They look like they're slowing down. And, maybe we're throwing dirt on them too early because it's only the second week of the season, but I am not impressed by what I have saw at all from Kansas City in the least.
And no tug of the Cowboys, huh? It's over. It's completely. We can throw dirt, to use your metaphor.
Throw dirt on it. No, gone and out and never looked back. And you know what? Never been happier to watch football.
You haven't jumped on a table yet, though, have you?
Haven't been put through a table yet, but still there's a lot of life left in the season.
All right. You know the drill. If you like what we do, tell a friend. If you hate what we do, tell an enemy. Just tell somebody. Like, subscribe, hit the button, the thumbs up.
Do all the things.
Yeah, do all the things, and we'll talk to you
next week.
Do all the
social media things. Exactly, Jim. Have a great week. Enjoy.